This
Samarambham
conference will now be recorded.
Vagbhadacharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryandam Vande Guru Paramparam Ragadi Sadatanushaktan Asheshakaya Prasudan Asheshan Aulsukya Moharadidan Jakhana Yopurva Vaidyaya Namostu Tasmai. Namaskaram to all. So today we are going to start a new chapter called Snehvidhi. Snehvidhi Adhyay. So generally considered as the second half of the Sutrasthana. In the first half, we had a thorough survey on the basic principles mainly. Of course, we went through the Dravya Vijnaniyam, Annaswarupa Vijnaniyam, all those chapters, true. But fundamentally, we were discussing about the basic principles. From now onwards, we will be discussing the Samanya Panchakarma Chikitsa or Shodhana Chikitsa plus many other relevant Chikitsa Paddhadis which are a part of the big spectrum of Kriya Kramas explained in Ayurveda. The first one is the Snehvidhi. Athatah Snehvidhim Adhyayam Vyakhyasyaamaha iti Smahuratre Adayo Maharshaya. So, chapter begins with this Gadya Sutram. It is going to be a detailed narration of a chapter called Snehvidhi. As explained by the parampara, Atrayadi, Guru Parampara, Rishi Parampara, so that knowledge, that Vijnanam, I am going to explain. Sneha Vidhi, as you all know, is a very important treatment procedure or treatment concept. Yes, conceptually it is a very interesting one. Snehvidhi. Very unique. I don't think that there is some other school of Chikitsa which will be doing a procedure, a treatment like the Snehvidhi as it is advised in Ayurveda. So it is a very unique procedure. So every Vaidya should have a correct and a proper idea about this very sophisticated treatment procedure. And we should have some basic idea before entering into the details of the chapter. Number one, we are going to explain the Shodhana Chikitsa. That is our context. So the uh, background in which all these things are going to be explained is Shodhana Chikitsa. And there may be many other things explained in this same chapter, which need not be directly related with the Shodhana Chikitsa, but which will be a procedure, or which will be procedures using the similar dravya or using the similar strategy sometimes. So they also may be included in the same chapter. But the basic context is Shodhana Chikitsa. That should always be in our minds. This is more relevant in this context, in this chapter called Snehvidhi. Okay. We all know that as far as Shodhana Chikitsa is concerned, that procedures, the Shodhana procedures, again, is very, all of them are very unique procedures. When we say the Panchakarma, I think that means a lot. And the way in which the body is getting prepared for Panchakarma is very important for the proper administration of the procedures, and also for expecting the optimum outcome from the procedure done. And the Panchakarma Chikitsa, as we all know, has got that three components: the Pradhana Karma, then the Purva Karma, and the Paschat Karma. And this Snehapana, which is going to be explained in this chapter, basically is one of the most commonly practiced Purva Karma of almost all types of Shodhana Chikitsa. So that way, this is going to be the foundation of Shodhana Chikitsa. Previously, in many situations, we have seen some sort of an introduction regarding this Shodhana Chikitsa and the Purva Karma for the Shodhana Chikitsa, which includes Snehana. पाजनैः दीपनैः स्नेहैस्तान् स्वेदैश्च परिष्कृतान् शोधयेत् शोधनैः काले यथासन्नं यथा बलं हन्त्याशुयुक्तं वक्त्रेण द्रव्यमामाशयात् मलान् घ्राणेन च ऊर्ध्वजत्रूत्थान् पक्वाधानात् गुदेन च. So all these things we have seen. So there is some sort of an order. Pajanaihi, Deepanaihi, स्नेहैस्तान् स्वेदैश्च परिष्कृतान् शोधयेद् शोधनैः. In this first Gadya Sutra, while commenting on that Gadya Sutra, we can find Hemadri mentioning or quoting Chikitsa Kalika. Chikitsa Kalikayam tu Prakpajanam Snehavidhistadascha Svedastadasyad Vamanam Virekaha Niruhana Anvasana Vastikarma Nasyam Kramaschedi Bhishagvaranam. So that tells everything. Prakpajanam Sneha Vidhistadascha Svedastadasyad Vamano Virekaha Vamanam Virekaha Niruhana Anvasana Vastikarma Nasyam Kramaschedi Bhishagvaranam. So that order in which the procedures are arranged. So after Pajanam we find Sneha Vidhi. That Sneha Vidhi is what we are going to explain here. Sneha Vidhi. Sneham is a dravya, maybe. That way we can start. Sneha is a dravya, and Snehanam is the karma which is done by that dravya, and Snigdham is that guna which makes the dravya capable of doing that Snehana karma. And that Snigdhata can be seen explained. Say, for example, in the previous chapter or the first chapter of Ashtanga Hridayam Sutra Sthanam itself, we find Hemadri explaining Yasya Dravyasya Kledane Shaktihi Sa Snigdhaha. So that is what a Snehana Dravya is what the Snehana Dravya is meant for. Yasya Dravyasya Kledane Shaktihi Sa Dravyaha Snigdhaha. And we can find similar definitions for the Sneha. Sneham at one point we can find explained. You all will be remembering it. Churnadi pindi bhava heduhu. Sneha. Churnadi pindi bhava hedur gunaha. That is known as Snigdhada. Sneha. That is also a good definition of Sneha. So it is with the help of such a dravya with Snigdha guna that we are going to do the Snehana karma. It is with such a dravya having this Snigdha guna that we are going to do the Snehana karma. That is very important. And now we can find this nature of the Snehana dravya explained by Vagbhada. What is that? Gurushida Sarasnigdha Manda Sukshma Mrudu Dravam Aushadham Snehanam Prayo. Gurushida Sarasnigdha Manda Sukshma Mrudu Dravam Aushadham Snehanam Prayaha. So he is trying to give a fairly good idea about what sort of an Aushatha in general can be expected to do the Snehana karma. Guru, Shita, Sara, Snigdha, Manda, Sukshma, Mrudu, Dravam. Guru, Shita, Sara, Snigdha. All are familiar words, familiar gunas. We have seen them in multiple situations, so we need not explain it again and again. Guru, familiar. Sheetam, saram, snigdham, mandam, sukshmam, mrudu, dravam. And there is one prayah shabdam. Prayah. Prayah means in general. It gives a space for an exceptional character which may be doing snehana, still lacking the gunas enlisted here, or other way, a dravya which does not do the snehana karma, even if it contains or it accommodates these gunas. So to highlight the possibility of such an exception, this praya shabda helps. Prayah. So a dravya, an aushadha which is having these, but don't expect that there can be an aushadha which contains all these gunas. It need not be so. Sometimes a majority maybe of the listed gunas can do the snehana karma. So according to the number of gunas available from this given list, maybe giving the taratamatva, a comparative potential of doing snehana guna, and when there are conflicting gunas, we should follow what we have learned in Dravyadi Vijnaniyam. Viruddha guna samyoge bhuya salpam hijiyade. It doesn't mean that in the same dravya there can be conflicting gunas, but in combinations. So all these possibilities can be taken or assimilated from this big list of guna combinations or package or whatever it is given here. Guru Sida Sarasnigdha Manda Sukshma Mrududravam Aushadham Snehanam Prayaha Viparidam Virukshanam. The presence of the Viparida gunas of the listed ones makes an Aushadha Virukshana Dravya. So actually this Virukshana Dravyam in this context, somebody can ask, why should you give the characteristics of a Virukshana Dravya here? This is a Snehvidhi Adhyayam, and this is considered to be the Purva Karma of a Panchakarma procedure. Then what is the relevance of explaining the Virukshana Dravya Subhavam? When you are explaining a Snehana Dravya, it is an issue of common sense. It's a matter of common sense, primarily, to explain the characters of a Dravya with opposite gunas, because the opposite of Snehana is Rukshana. And clinically, that is relevant also. Whenever there is a problem with the procedure that you have done as Snehana, and when it goes or exceeds certain optimal levels and goes for an excessive accumulation of Snehana, obviously you will be in need of looking for Rukshana Dravyas. So at that point of time, you should have a familiar idea about what a Rukshana Dravya is. So for multiple reasons, I think this statement, just one simple part of a sloga with just two words, Viparidam Virukshanam, is becoming very relevant and very properly placed in the context. Then, with that information, we will go further forward and we find that the explanation regarding uh, Snehayoni. Sarpirmajja vasatailam sneheshu pravaram madam. Sarpirmajja vasatailam sneheshu pravaram madam. So there are many types of snehas available. There can be many types of snehas available, of which sneheshu sarpirmajja vasatailam pravaram. Sarpirmajja vasatailam. 4 snehas are highlighted. Sarpihi, Majja, Vasa, Tailam. In Charaka Samhita, in the same context called Snehadhyayam, we will find the chapter opening with some questions. Kim yonaya kadi snehaha kecha sneha gunaha prathak kalanupane ke kasya kadi kascha vicharanaha. Like that, a list of questions are there. So the first question is Kim Yonayaha. And then we will find the answer. Snehanam Dvividha Saumya Yoni Sthavara Jangamaha. Sneha Yonis are basically divided into two: Sthavara Jangamaha. Sthavara Yoni, Jangama Yoni. Then he will be explaining the Sthavarayo Nittila Priyala Abhishugau Vibhitagas Bhayairanda Madhuka Sarshapaha. Like that, the Sthavarayonis will be explained. Similarly, Surjangama Malsya Mrigasa Pakshina Tesham Dadhi Kshira Ghridamisham Vasa Sneheshu Majjacha. So further dividing the Sthavara and Jangama yonis. And a big list will be given. Then he concludes Sarpistailam Vasamajja Sarvasnehottama Mataha. Sarpistailam Vasamajja Sarvasnehottama. That is what we find here in Ashtanga Hridayam. Sarpir Majja Vasatailam. He is changing the order. There may be some logic we will find later. Sarpir Majja Vasatailam Sneheshu Pravaram Madam. Pravaratvam shows the Sneha Uttamatvam. Uttama Snehaha. Uttama Sneha. Pravaram. Then, so Sarpis is there. Everyone knows what Sarpis is. Majja. Everyone knows what Majja is. Vasa and Tailam. And regarding the Tailam, Sarvesham Tailajadanam Tila Tailam Vishishyade. So Tailam, primarily it is a general term. All fats taken from the seeds, the plant-based fats may be generally called as Tailam, but originally it is a Tilajadam. So specifically we find Sarvesham Tailajadanam Tila Tailam Vishishyate. So sarpir majja vasa tailam sneheshu pravaram matam. Then next line tatrabi. Tatrabi cha uttamam sarpihi. Tatrabi cha uttamam sarpi. So the list of 4 snehas which are supposed to be the pravara sneham, pravaram, tatrabi cha uttamam. Even among those 4 snehas, sarpihi uttamam. The best is sarpihi. The best is sarpi. Tatrapi cha uttamam sarpihi. There should be some reason for that. There should be some logic. Why do you prefer to call sarpihi as the uttama sneham? Then he explains samskarasya anuvartanad madhuryad avidahitvad janmadhyeva cha sheelanad. Samskarasya anuvartanad madhuryad avidahitvad janmadhyeva cha sheelanad. Multiple reasons. Number 1, samskarasya anuvartanam. Samskarasya anuvartanam. What is samskaram? Samskaram, we all know. Samskaram is gunandaradhanam. So the capacity of a dravya to accommodate the gunas of another dravya when processed with it. When processed with it, that peculiar capacity is known as samskaranam. And sarpis, kritam, sarpi and kritam are synonyms. So sarpis shows an extraordinary capacity for this sort of a samskaranam. It very beautifully accommodates the gunas of other dravyas when processed with them. Snehvidhi, which is a different procedure which we are not going to discuss in detail right now. So one reason for calling the krita as the uttama sneha is its samskarasya anuvartanatvam. But there may be other snehas as well which has the capacity to follow the samskara, proper samskara. In Tilataila we will be finding that Tilatailam is also showing excellent capacity of this samskara anuvartanam. So samskara anuvartanam alone cannot be the right reason. Then what next? Madhuryad. There is a madhuryam. Why madhuryam is very important? Madhurata. Madhurata is very important because that gives perfect match with the shleshma, which is supposed to be prithvi jala bhuishtha, which is supposed to be bala when prakrita, which is again supposed to add to the pool of sneha of the sharira, and thus offering the best level or the best quality of dhatu poshana. That is the advantage of being madhura, madhuryam. But there are other dravyas, other snehas which are still madhura. Tilatailam again is okay, it is madhura. So some other reason also should be sought. Then avidahitvad. Avidahitva. Tilatailam is not avidahi. It can cause vidaha. There may be some other sneha which is madhura, but it is not that avidahi as krita is avidahi. Then janmadhyeva cha sheelanad. Janmadhyeva cha sheelanad. I think it may not be that familiar these days. Previously, I think in the olden days, or maybe the custom of a different time, kala, we can find that the first meal that a baby, a newborn baby, is consuming could be the Navanitam, which is has become, I think, maybe a rare practice these days, because I think most of the childbirths are hospital based, modern hospital based, where the practice of the newborn care is entirely different. But traditionally, traditionally, uh, some sort of a sneha, which is either Navanita or Krita and Madhu combination, was supposed to be. I think there may be slight mild changes from place to place, tradition to tradition, or culture to culture. If somebody can remember the way in which this is explained in Ashtanga Hridayam itself, we can find that okay, Siranam Hridayasthanam Vivrudatvad Prasudita Tridiyenni Chadurthe va Strinam Stanyam Pravartade. Then Pradhame Divase Tasta Tasmat Trikalam Mathu Sarpishi Ananda Misride Mandrapavide Prasayet Sisum. So that that Sarpis can be seen as the sneha which is getting the child is getting acclimatized with the krita from the day one itself. But I think that practice need not be a universal one. But anyway, while considering the superior positioning of Ghrita, these four items, four qualifications, they all come together in a row. Samskarasya anuvartanam, madhuryam, avidahitvam, then janmadhyevacha sheelanatvam. So all these four characteristics are owned by Kritam, and for that reason, for all therapeutic purposes, for all chikilsas, among the four snehas listed, that is Sarpis, Majja, Vasa and Thailam, Sarpis is supposed to be the best. It is supposed to be the best. Madhuryad, Avidahitvad, Janmadhyevacha, Sheelanad. Then we are going to look into the nature of these four types of snehas. First, we will find a generalized understanding. Pittaghnaste yatha purvam, itaraghnaha yathottaram. Pittaghnaste yatha purvam, Idaraghna yathottaram. So now we find a logic in the way in the way in which Vagbhara arranged the four snehas. Pittaghnaste yatha purvam idaraghna yathottaram. Yatha purvam. In that order, that means Sarpihi first, then Majja, then Vasa, then Tailam. Pittaghnaste yatha purvam. The first one explained is having the topmost Pittahara property. And gradually that Pitta Haratva comes down. That comes down. And by the time you reach Tailam, there is no question of Pitta Haratva. Contrarily, it may be increasing the Pitta a little bit. So Sarpis is the topmost Pitta Haradravya. A bit less is about Majja, further less about Vasa, further less, practically there is no such a property as far as Tailam is concerned. Pittaghnaste yatha purvam. Then Itaraghna yathottaram. Itaraghna yathottaram. Itaraghna, itaram, other one. Yathottaram, in the reverse order of the Yatha Purvam. In the Yatha Purvam, we took the first one as the topmost preferred one. Here, the last one will be the topmost preferred one. So, as far as the Idaraghnattvam is concerned, Yathottaratvam, that means Tailam is the topmost preferred one, Idaraghnam. Then Vasa is a bit less, Majja is still less, and Sarpis as the bottom level. By that time, it may be crossing the border and maybe going to the other side. So then when we look at that point, we have to understand what this Idaraghnam is. In the commentary, we find Idaraghnam. Yo yaha purvaha yatha purvam, yo yaha uttaraha yathottaram. Tena chadurnam snehanam yatha nirdishtanam sarpiradinam traya eva sneha vasa majja sarpis sapnyakaha yatha purvatvena sambadhyante. Natu tailakhyaha snehaha tasya purvatva bhavad. Nahi anyaha asmad. I think I am not going to read all the commentary portion which is always there in the screen. But what does it mean? That is more important. In the last part of Arunadatta commentary, we will find Idaraghna ityadi. Idarau vadakapau pittavekshaya tau ghnandi parakurvandi idi idaraghna. Yathottaram trayah snehaha majjavasatailakhyaha vadashleshmaghnaha. Tena majja vadashleshmaghno vasa vadashleshmaghnatara tailam vadashleshmaghna tamam iti avagandavyam. So that seems to be a little bit confusing. So we can find Arunadatta giving a second opinion. What is that? Anye tu evam vyachakshate. Some other authors comment on this in a different way. Shleshmani sneha nishedhad idaraghna iti samanyoktaavapi vadaghna iti gamyate. This is very important. This is very important for all practical purposes. Here that Idaraghna Idaraghna cannot be Vada/Mahara but Vadahara. Because even in the best of the situations, you cannot expect the Taila or any Sneha to go to the level of extreme Maharatvam. It may be Udasinam in that context, but you cannot claim Maharatvam. So this second opinion, as highlighted as of some other author, name not mentioned, that sounds to be more logical. That means Shleshmani Sneha Nishedhad Idaraghna iti Samanyoktawapi Vadaghna iti Gamyade. So here Idaraghna Yadhottaram should mean that Tailam is the topmost Vadahara Dravya, Vasa bit less, Majja bit less, and Sarpis bit less. So in a decreasing order from the last to the first. Whereas in Pitta Haratva, in a decreasing order from the first to the last. Pitta Ghnaste Yatha Purvam Idaraghna Yathoktaram. I hope that idea is clear. Then again, there are some comparative uh, aspects discussed in this among these four snehas. Ghridat tailam guru vasa tailad majja tadopicha. Ghritad tailam guru vasa tailad majja tadopicha. So in terms of gurutva, Kritam, still Guru is Tailam, still Guru is Vasa, and the topmost Guru is Majja. Ghridad Tailam Guru, Vasa Tailad Guru, Majja Tataha Api Guru Cha. So the Guru Tama Sneha is Majja, then Vasa, then Tailam, then Kritam. So the Lekhutamam is Kritam and the Guru Tamam is Majja. Kritad Tailam Guru, Vasa Tailad, Majja Tadopicha. So that also gives you an idea about the specific selection of Sneha in a given situation. Then moving further forward, we find some details about combining these snehas to form different combinations. Dvabhyam tribhi chadurbhi taihi yamaga trivruto mahan. Dvabhyam tribhi chadurbhi staihi Yamakastrivruto Mahan. Taihi. With these four snehas, Dvabhyam Tribhihi Chadurbhihi Cha Yamakaha Trivrutaha Mahan Cha Snehaha. So when you combine two of these four snehas together, you are making a Yamaka Sneham. When you are mixing three of these four Snehas, you are making a Trivrit Sneham. When you are mixing all the four, you are making a Mahasneham. You are making a Mahasneham. So these are all important in practical purposes, which we will be finding sometime in Chikilsasthana. You will find Yamaga Sneham, you will find Trivrit Sneham, and you will find Mahasneham in different therapeutic situations in Chikilsasthana. Now, we find the explanations goes directly to the Snehvidhi now, but I think just to get an idea about the four dravyas what we were explaining here, it may be nice to recollect what we have seen. I'll be just reading it aloud. That's all. What was the that gunas of these uh, four dravyas as explained in the textbook. We find that in Charaka Samhita we can find this. In other textbooks are also there. In Charaka Samhita we find Kridam Pittanilaharam Rasashukraujasam Hidam Nirvapanam Mrudukaram Swaravarna Prasadanam. All are important. So while we are into the field of Chikitsa, every word counts. So give me your brains and listen to each word, which will make you better clinicians. See, Kritam Pittanilaharam Rasa Shukraujasam Hitam. Rasa is the first dhatu, Shukra is the last dhatu. Rasa Shukra Ojasam, and Ojas is Shukrandanam Dhadunam Param Teja, which we have seen. So Rasa Shukra Ojasam Hitam. That indirectly tells that it will nourish all the dhadus with a special mentioning about Rasa and Shukra. And also it will facilitate the formation of more and more ojas because of its extreme similarity, samanata, with the properties of ojas. Rasa Shukra Ojasam Hitam. Nirvapanam Mrudukaram Swaravarna Prasadanam Swaravarna Prasadanam Marudaghnam. So it is up to this that Swaravarna Prasadanam we find the gunas of the Kridam. Then coming to the Taila we find Marudaghnam Nacha Shleshma Vardhanam. This is what I mentioned earlier. You cannot claim it as Shleshma Haram. But that way it is a little bit Udasinam. So what happens? It will not cause a Shleshma Vardhanam. That is what Charaka is highlighting. Tailam is Marudakhanam Najashleshma Vardhanam Balavardhanam Tvachamushnam Sthirakaram Tailam Yoni Vishodhanam. Then Vidha Bhagna Ahada Bhrashtayoni Karnashiroruji Paurushopachaye Snehe Vyayame Cheshyate Vasa. Very important. Vidha Bhagna Ahada Bhrashtayoni Karnashiroruji Paurushopachaye Snehe Vyayame Cheshyate Vasa. Then Bala Shukra Rasa Shleshma Medo Majja Vivardhanaha. You see the list of dhadus specifically highlighted. Bala Shukra Rasa Shleshma Medo Majja Vivardhanaha Majja Visheshadosthanamja Balagrit Snehanehitaha. Majja Visheshadosthanamja Balagrit Snehanehitaha. So it is with this explanation that Charaka introduces the 4 snehas. This is highly relevant or significant in clinics. Now with that, we are coming to Ashtanga Hridayam back, and we will find here a list which tells us who all are snehya, who all deserve snehana. Svedya samshodhya madhya स्त्री व्यायामासक्त चिंतकाः वृद्ध बालाबलकृशा रूक्षाः क्षीणास्ररेतसः वातार्त स्यन्दतिमिर दारुण प्रतिबोधिनः स्नेह्याः. स्वेद्य संशोध्य मध्य स्त्री व्यायामासक्त चिंतकाः वृद्ध बालाबलकृशा रूक्षाः क्षीणास्ररेतसः वातार्त स्यन्दतिमिर दारुण प्रतिबोधिनः स्नेह्याः. So a big list. We will just read out the words. Svedya, somebody who is deserving Sweda is known as Svedya. It shows the yogyada for Swedanam. Samshodhyaha, somebody who deserves Shodhana. The Shodhana yogyada is Samshodhyata. Samshodhya. Then Madhya Stri Vyayama Asakta. Madhya Asakta. Stri Sakta. Vyayama Asakta. So in all these cases, Madhya Asakta, Stri Sakta, Vyayama Asakta. Then Chintakaha. Chintakaha, somebody who is lost in unnecessary thoughts, challenging their own status of ojas. Then Vruddha Bala Abala Krisha. Vruddha Bala Abala Krisha. Vruddha Balaha Abalaha Krishaha. Rukshaha. Rukshata. Ksheenasraretasah. Ksheenasraha. Ksheenaretasah. Ksheenasraha. Ksheenaretasah. Vadartaha. Syanda timira daruna pradibodhinaha. Some diseases. Vadartas in general, somebody who is afflicted by Vadakopa. Syandaha, maybe Vadasyanda specifically. Vada timiraha. And Daruna pradibodhinaha. Krichra bodham. Krichra unmilanam. There are some vyadhis like that. All these individuals are snehyaha. Svedya samshodhya madhya stri vyayamasakta chintakaha vruddha bala abala krishaha rukshaha ksheenasraretasaha vadartha syanda timira daruna pradibodhinaha snehyaha. So it is a big list, and you will find a still bigger list in some other textbooks. Which is quite normal. If you go through the maybe a higher text like Charaka Samhita, we will find the specific indications for the four snehas, which is quite interesting, because then you find an idea about which sneha in which situation. Like Vata-pitta prakritayah, Vata-pitta-vikariणः, चक्षुःकामाः, क्षताः, क्षीणाः, वृद्धाः, बालाः, तथा आबलाः, आयुप्रकर्षकामाश्च, बलवर्णस्वरार्थिनः, पुष्टिकामाः, प्रजाकामाः, सौकुमार्यार्थिनश्च ये. सौकुमार्य अर्थिनश्च ये दीप्त्योजस्मृति मेधायु मेधाग्नि बुद्धीन्द्रिय बलार्थिनः. दीप्त्योजस्मृति मेधाग्नि बुद्धीन्द्रिय बलार्थिनः पिबेयुः सर्पिः. सर्पिः पिबेयुः. आर्ताश्च दाह शस्त्र विषाग्निभिः. This is one specific enlisting of the indication of kritam, where you have to use kritam for snehanam. So we should have a fairly good idea about all these things which are explained. So snehavanam should not be done in an offhand way. There are specifications. Very specifically, Charaka explains, Vata-pitta prakritayaha, Vata-pitta-vikariнаha, go for Thailam, so go for Ghritam. Don't opt for other snehas. So there is a specification. We will find the specification for all the other three snehas in the same way in our next class. And we will also look into the general statement that we saw in Ashtanga Hridaya once again. We will look into all those clauses, all those words, and we will try to take some leads from the corresponding chikitsa sandarbha, chikitsa situations of chikitsa. We will do it in our next session, but I would strongly recommend everyone to be very familiar with these textbooks by the next class, so that we can easily find some clinical situations from the Chikitsa Sthanam or Uttara Sthanam, and that will make the learning overall easier and more practice oriented. So I request you to come prepared for that. I think we will close our session today here, because it's already 9:05. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you, Prasad sir, for yet another session. I think Ashwin sir has just requested to explain Samskarasyanvartana property again.
Oh, sure, we will do that. But I think we have already explained it in our earlier Sutrasthana sessions, where we were discussing about that Dravadravya Vijnanam or something like that, where we were explaining the Mathu or something like that, Yogavahi, Samskaram, all these things I think we have explained, but no problem, we will explain it in our next session again. Doesn't matter. You may please remind me, dear Ashwin. We will do it next in our next session.
Yes, sir, definitely. So we will stop for today and meet in our next session, sir.
Bye. All right. Shubharatri to all.
Yes. Shubhratri. Shubhratri to all.